are you even realizing that it matters in what zip code you live? There is like an 8-year difference if you live on the eastern part of Douglas County versus to the western part of Douglas County. You know, to me, that is striking, and that should be upsetting to all of us.
We are very fortunate to live in an amazing nation that has excellent healthcare and advanced specialized healthcare services. However, despite that, we continue to see poor health in America compared to other wealthy countries, decreased lifespans, and very significant health disparities.
I can think about Black Lives Matters a whole lot for me personally, because it's my children who are getting killed, and it's my children who are not having access to appropriate health care. And so when I think about Black Lives Matter from an administrative standpoint, I first go to how do I at the state level really help and endorse access to care. One of the things that I've seen throughout my career is communities of color having limited to no access to get to the hospital, to get to an emergency room, and all services being done in the emergency room, and not thinking about prevention. And so how do we help communities begin to look at our health in a different way? I think one is understanding where you are inside of your health. I mean, Tim, let's be honest, for African Americans, it is very difficult to go to the doctor and to really express where you are with some of your health challenges.
Because we have, even in Omaha, we have protesters that are being targeted by police. We have the police that are literally stalking active protesters. They are following them around, they're harassing them, they're creating fake social media accounts so that they can try to track protesters. They are detaining them unlawfully. They are beating them unlawfully on camera. And they're continuing to do this because there has been no repercussions for their actions. And the first thing that we need to do is to create repercussions for their actions. Period. So what we're talking about when it comes to creating actionable steps for people to engage and work, it's recognizing that there are advocacy pieces, there's activism pieces, and there's community pieces. We need to have a community structure where we can have real conversations about what Black liberation looks like for all Black people, not just a handful of Black people. Because we're not just talking about like white cisgender people, we're not talking about Black cisgender people, we're not talking about heterosexual people, we're not talking about all of these different identities, we're talking about everyone, regardless of what identities they carry.
We encounter as the citizenry a bad cop, and then when you folks are made aware that we've got a bad cop, what are the procedures?
Well, ultimately, everything boils down to your hiring practices, and that's something that should be more universal across the entire country. We should have make sure everyone's doing polygraphs, they're doing background checks, that they're actually talking to neighbors, talking to their past co-workers and everything else before you hire somebody. That's step one, to make sure before they even get here that's vetted out very, very well. One thing that will happen on police departments when people talk about the bad apples are brought forward and they're brought to the internal affairs. And the thing is, it's only the situations that become national news. I know you guys will both work in the media, so you guys get this. If it bleeds, it leads. If it's a situation where it's a high profile incident, here you go, all of a sudden everyone's paying attention to that case. But there's a lot of times officers are fired because they've done something, violated policy. And there's officers that are witnesses to that, and they're going to go internal affairs and tell the absolute truth when they see their officers that have done something wrong.
In addition, I think we need to start to look at policy. Policies are the one thing that is going to make change. And we need to look back and see and learn from what was done wrong at one time. And we need to be deliberate.